Topuria versus Oliveira will be for the vacant lightweight championship. Makhachev had to vacate the belt. Some people didn't like that, citing a double standard with him and John Jones, forcing Islam to vacate, but keeping Jones' title. Ilya had to vacate too, forcing Islam to vacate after 4 defenses and a 10-year win streak, finishing his last 8 opponents by letting Jones delay an entire heavyweight division. Bilal ruined International Fight Week for everyone. Somehow Bilal gets blamed in this too. He lost to JDM, so we don't get to see Makhachev versus Topuria. On June 28th, another dream will come true. I'll be champion of the lightweight division. Charles, my apologies in advance. I'm just fighting for my dreams. It's unfortunate that Makhachev ran away. 17-0. Makhachev would have fought Topuria, but Bilal lost, so the opportunity to fight at welterweight arose. Early odds for Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. Islam Makhachev, a 2-1 favorite. Maddalena plus 170 underdog. I don't know, I might go Maddalena in this one just because his takedown defense looked pretty good against Bilal. His ability to get back up when taken down looked pretty good, and his striking is tremendous. I might go with JDM as the underdog in that one. But if Islam Makhachev does beat JDM, it opens the door for a lot more interesting matchups in the welterweight division. It could be Islam versus Brady or Rachmanov, maybe Joaquin Buckley if he beats Usman, or Ian Machado Gary. But for JDM, he sees himself knocking out Makhachev and sending him back down to 155, and then taking on Shavkat Rachmanov, who says congratulations to JDM. Great performance after a long layover and injuries. You know, I'm the real challenge at 170. Sooner or later, my time will come. And JDM agrees with that. He thinks he's the #1 guy in the division.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's the fight. I've been gunning for that fight for a long time.
You were saying if you go to if people watch and here's Shavkat showing you some love. It was a great performance after a long layover. You know, I'm the real challenge at 170. Sooner or later, my time will come.
His time will come. I think it's a great fight. I've always respected him and believed I could beat him. No, I will beat him, and it's going to be a good fight.
So realistically, if Islam is next, and not looking past him in any way, shape, or form, there's that sort of logjam of guys with Ian and Sean, Shavkat, Buckley. Who do you think is one notch below?
I think Shavkat.
Yeah.
Or you mean after that?
So like Islam would be next, probably.
I think
then Shavkat.
That's how I see
Yeah.
it. I think in terms of the run he's been on, finishes, never lost. I think some of the other guys need to fight it out. I think Gary and Brady should just fight it out.
I agree.
Brady versus Gary does make sense. Usman is fighting Buckley. JDM fights Makhachev for the belt. Rachmanov can take on the winner. And if Usman happens to beat Buckley, then he can take on Bilal Muhammad. They have a lot of heat and animosity, and it's a fight we haven't seen before. Marc-Andre Barrios just fought over the weekend, and he already has his next fight scheduled against Shara Bullet Magomedov. That's UFC Fight Night in Abu Dhabi at the Etihad Arena on July 26th. Card is headlined by Whitaker versus De Ridder. Magomedov's coming off his first MMA loss to MVP. Barrio just knocked out Bruno Silva over the weekend. Prior to that, he was knocked out by Dustin Stoolsfist. Magomedov will be the favorite in this fight. He only fights in the Middle East, but he stays very active. This will be his 5th fight in a year. Barrio has been active as well. This will be his 4th fight in a year. #1 ranked middleweight Nasruddin Imavov will be the backup fighter for DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev. That title fight is set for August 16th at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. DDP simply says prepared to be amazed again. Khamzat Chimaev will look to shut him up. 9 of Khamzat Chimaev's 14 victories are in the first round, so it's always a hellacious first round when you take on Khamzat Chimaev. I think DDP weathers that storm. And 7 minutes into a fight, it looks like Khamzat's fighting at 30% of his capabilities, and that's not a good thing if you're fighting gassed out against DDP. I think DDP stops him in the 4th round by TKO. DDP by somehow, DDP by falling piano, DDP via the common cold. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, Khamzat has had problems with his health, so who knows, he may not even make the fight. So it's good that they have Imavov staying ready, but hopefully the fight does happen. This is a crazy one. Yuri Prochazka was offered a fight, but it turned it down due to university exams in June. So maybe that was part of the whole drama with Alex Pereira. Maybe Pereira couldn't take the fight with Ankalaev, so they said, we're just going to give it to Prochazka, and then Prochazka can't because he has exams. The PFL says that the Professional Fighters League and Patchy Mix have mutually agreed not to extend his contract. We both decided this is the best course of action for the PFL and him. Patchy's a fantastic fighter, and we wish him well. PFL is excited to crown our next 135-pound champion in the PFL World Tournament. Maybe Patchy will go to the UFC. That'd be an exciting addition to their bantamweight roster. He's one of the best bantamweights in the world. It'd be interesting to see how far he could take it in the UFC. Patchy Mix apparently may make his UFC debut at UFC Newark, UFC 316, which is actually less than a month away. So that's interesting. And also interesting on that card, Marlon Chito Vera is out his fight with Mario Batista. So if you put 2 and 2 together, maybe Patchy Mix replaces Marlon Vera and takes on Mario Batista in his UFC debut. So that could be an interesting development for that card in less than a month. UFC 317 opening odds, Oliveira versus Topuria. Oliveira a plus 250 underdog, Topuria a 3-1 favorite. Some people think that's too much in Topuria's favorite. Some people think it's accurate. I don't know, but I think Topuria wins, but you never know. It is Oliveira, and he does Oliveira things. Co-main event odds, Kai Kara France, 2-1 underdog, Pantoja minus 250 favorite. Seems fair and accurate. You can also bet on UFC 318 main event, Holloway versus Poirier at the link in the description. And these odds for Dustin Poirier are pretty good. Almost 2-1 odds, even money here. Poirier is a good pick at that price. He's beat Holloway twice. And the last time they fought, you could just tell he hits way harder than Holloway. The shots he lands on Holloway are much more impactful and damaging. So that's what counts on the scorecards. And I see him winning a decision in this one. Bruno Ferreira will be taking on Ikram Aliskerov at UFC 318, July 19th, in New Orleans, Louisiana, card headlined by Poirier versus Holloway. Bruno Ferreira is coming off an armbar win over Armin Petrosyan. Ikram Aliskerov is fresh off a victory over Andre Muniz by knockout in the first round. It looks like Aliskerov broke his training partner's nose while sparring with him.
Jab, используй свой.
PFL World Tournament semifinals for June 20th set in Wichita, Kansas. Main card has Rabadanov, Wilson, Carmouche, Dana, Hadley, Alves, Gutierrez, Wetzel. On the early card, Primus takes on Davis, Bishop takes on Shakalova.
John Jones versus the heavyweight fight will happen. Relax. I'll announce that soon. John Jones versus the heavyweight fight will happen. Relax. I'll announce that soon.